So within order-deployment, remember we have two configurations in here. So we have the deployment, and we also have this service right here of type cluster IP, so that the customer microservice can talk to the order microservice internally using this service right here. Now let's go ahead and open up customer deployment, and we're going to create a service that allows us to basically expose the API on a given port for each node. So this customer microservice, has an API. So let's actually expose that to every single node on a specific port. So in here, and also you've seen that we've been using port forwarding, and that's not the right way. We should really be using services. So here again, we could actually say, so here I'm going to say dash dash dash, and then here I can create my new YAML configuration, right? So my new object, or if you want, you can create a new file. So usually the service and deployment, they live in the same file. So let's actually keep it as is as well. So here I'm going to say service. And by the way, what I mean is this. So let me just show you. So in here, so I can just remove this, right? Save that, and I can create a new file, customer-service dot and then YAML. There we go. And here now I can say service, and this is my service, right? So I could do this, or so let me just delete this, move to thrash, and then here just like that. So 3 dashes and then service, and I get auto completion there, and there we go. Now the name, so let's just say customer and then dash node, and the selector, so the selector will be, so anything that has this label, so app and then customer. So the pods will have this label right here. Now the service here, so the selector is anything that has this key called app, and then the value customer. Then the port, we want to expose this service on port 80, and then the target port is 8080. So this is what the container right here is listening on, right? So it takes anything that comes through 8080. Now, one more thing that we have to do is within the spec, we have to specify the type. So type, and remember the cluster IP is a default. If we don't specify, we get a cluster IP, but what we want is a node port. And within the node port, we actually can define the node port itself. So node port in here, and this is the value between 30,000 and 32,672, I believe, right? So if we, or actually like that. So if we don't specify this, we get a randomly allocated port between that range. Or if you want to have control of the port, you can do it. So here, let's just say 30,000. So let me just save this, and there we go. So now if I open up my terminal, and then let's just say kubectl apply-f, and then customer, and then deployment, enter, and check this out. So the deployment wasn't changed, but now we have this service called customer and then dash node. So kubectl get and then service, and then customer dash and then node, or in fact, let's just say, so basically we want to get the service. So let's just say get service, or svc is the same thing. And if I clear the screen for a second, there we go. And if I run the same command, have a look. So we have customer node in here, and the type is node port, and you've seen the order, which is cluster IP. And again, this one we will touch in a second. So here, have a look. So this also has its own cluster IP, right? Because you can access the service within the cluster. And in here we have external IP, which is none, and I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to access this in a second. And then have a look. So we have, so this is port 80 in here, and this is the service. So this is the port that the service is listening on, and this is the node port in here. So if I now say cube ctl describe and then svc and then customer dash node, and check this out. So we have a couple of things. So basically we have basically more information from what we have from here, but you have the namespace, which is the same as all resources that we've been creating. So under the default namespace, and we're going to cover namespaces in detail later. And then we have a selector. So you see in this app customer, the type node port, the IP right here, the port, and then we have the target port, the node port in here, and then we have endpoints, right? So we have 2 healthy pods that we can basically send traffic to, or actually that this service can send traffic to at the moment. And this is because in here replicas 2, and all these pods are healthy. So there we have it. Next, let me show you how to access the API through this node port.